The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so pleased to have on an award-winning country music singer and songwriter. You're going to be hearing a lot more from Trey Calloway. Trey, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Eric. Good to be here.
You know, I feel like I know you already from following you on social media, and I started listening to your songs before your album came out, Wanted Man, and you and I were like checking in with each other, and I was following where you were at on tour. But it's like you're originally from North Carolina.
Sure am. Great state of North Carolina.
And so how long have you been here in Nashville, Tennessee?
So January will be 3 years.
Wow.
So I'm still, I guess, a new guy in the grand scheme of things.
I don't know, but you've been coming here for a while.
I have.
You know, and I want to talk about this album that came out this past September, Wanted Man. And it was so much fun listening to the entire album, and I could certainly hear your influences.
Yes, sir.
You know, how did this whole album evolve? Because I know it's all been an evolution for you and coming out with the singles and everything until the final album happened. And we're going to talk about new music coming too. Yeah. But I want to talk about Wanted Man first.
Well, that's been kind of our game plan along was singles. You
Right.
know, I think the landscape of music now is gone back to the way it was in the 60s. It's all about the singles king again. So we didn't originally plan to make an album, but we had all these really great songs that we loved, and I've been fortunate to meet some amazing writers in Nashville.
Right. Including Terry McBride from McBride the Ride.
Yes,
has
sir.
become a close personal
Terry's
friend.
the man.
Yeah,
He
and
sure
you've got
is.
some other major, you know, songwriter things going on we can't even talk about yet.
Yeah,
next time you come on.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, I think one of my favorite songs on here from this album is I Miss Country Music.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I think what you've done so well, Trey, is that you certainly acknowledge your favorite country music and country music artists, you know, from the past. You know, they're still playing now, you know, with Garth and with Alan Jackson and so many others. But also you bring that new sound, kind of edgy and kind of rockin'. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think I heard a little Southern rock in this album also.
Absolutely. Well, so the first band I was ever in was actually a Southern rock band. We played a bunch of Skinner and a bunch of Allman Brothers.
Who's not a fan of that?
Molly Hatchet.
Right.
So I mean, I cut my teeth in a lot of smoky bars that you could play that Southern rock stuff and get away with it. And we still break out "Call Me the Breeze." And,
right. Yeah. You know, but I mean, but that music never gets old. But I can hear it in your voice, and certainly with some of these songs I was going through, you know, on the entire album with Wanted Man, to where you know you've got your ballads, you've got the ones that tug at your heart, but it seems like also you're kind of comfortable in the honky tonk range.
Oh yeah.
Where you really, you know, you got the rocking guitars. It's like the steel guitar sounded great on this album too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, I mean, for me, it's like, why can't I do all kinds of music?
Right.
I've never subscribed to this thing of, you know, you got to find one lane and stay in it. I like pop country records. I like honky tonk stuff.
Yeah.
I like good ballads, sad country songs.
So even though people are recommending
Gospel.
you go, oh yeah, which
Yes, sir.
we're going to talk about that, but people are recommending you go bluegrass, you're staying country though.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of my ultimate goals, I think, would be, because I grew up Pentecostal. My dad was a Pentecostal evangelist.
I was going to bring that up.
growing
You were a PK, a preacher's kid.
I was. So I grew up singing in church, and the gospel quartets would be on tour, and they'd stop in our church. Our church was one of their tour stops.
Right.
And so that the Southern gospel quartet music sunk into my heart at an early age too. So I would like to find 3 other guys one of these days and make a Southern gospel album.
Well,
like straight up quartet.
And I got to bring this up too,
cool.
Trey. You started singing in church.
Have to get me one of these.
Yeah,
lasers.
you can do it. Yeah, we can match.
Let's
but
do it.
You started singing in church at only 4 or 5 years old, and you were already on stage at 10.
I was. So the first song I remember playing in church was Angels Among Us by Alabama. And I remember my mom and dad talking about it at the house. They'd say, is this a country song or is this a gospel song? Because it's Pentecostal. You know, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, is this a Christian enough gospel song? And my mom was like, it'll be fine. And it went well. Wow. But my leg, so when I was a kid, my leg would always shake real bad. Everybody just thought I was keeping time, but it was because I was nervous.
But I mean, you can't tell it because, you know, I've seen you on stage when you accepted your Josie Award, and I've got to bring up also, it's not bad when you're winning a Texas Country Music Songwriter Award either.
That was...
I mean, early in your career, I mean, you're coming out of the gate pretty hard.
Thank you, sir. That was, for me, it was just to be there down at Billy Bob's was an honor. Yeah. And but they got me to play on stage, and I got to play the song that won, which is a song that I actually wrote about my dad called One Tough Job. And I was blown away. I was so honored, and yeah, all the people, Linda, the woman that runs it, she's amazing. Yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of amazing, you've also shared the stage with the late Joe Diffie and also with Tracy Lawrence, with Pat Green, and seems like things are going pretty well. It seems like, you know, and I know, you know, Wanted Man is doing so well, and there's so many great singles on here. And I love the entire album. Like you said, it's like you can listen and hear your country ballads, but also it's like kind of got the southern rock, you know, rockin' songs in there too, and the nod to the 90s.
Oh yeah.
But then your voice is so great, it just cuts through, Trey.
I appreciate that, Eric. Thank you, man. You're making my day. I appreciate it. I like this guy.
But in your spare time, you're already writing more songs in the studio.
Yes, sir.
And there's already talk about more singles coming out in 2025 and possibly another album.
So we've got three singles kind of lined up, and then we're working on a brand new album. We don't have a name for the album yet. If anybody got any ideas, send them my way. You never know. But there's been no letting off of the gas pedal since I got to Nashville.
Well, you can tell it though, you know, and even on your social media too, you're so busy, you're playing, you know, you're doing all sorts of great things and charity work and songwriter deals. But living here in Nashville too, as you and I know, it's like, you know, some of these people that you meet that you admire, like we were talking, like Bill Anderson, Whispering Bill, you know, and it's like, and you're hanging out and talking with them. So it seems to me like the obvious step for you, Trey, is going to be getting on the Opry in the next year or so, right?
We're speaking it into existence. That's my ultimate. That is my ultimate.
I mean, you're already on the stage at the Josie Awards, so you know you stood in the circle already.
No, I didn't.
Well, you didn't?
I chickened out.
Oh,
I chickened out.
That's right. You stood back. That's right. I remember.
There was one guy that was not happy with me about that. But you know, I had to go with my convictions.
Totally.
You know, I couldn't bring myself to stand in that circle. I wanna be invited into it. To me, it's sacred ground.
Yeah.
Not to quote Terry.
Well, but I think,
ground.
exactly. but I think that it is going to happen in time, certainly with the caliber of the music. And like you and I were talking too, Trey, every song, every single you've released in this past album, it just seems like everything keeps stacking up better and stronger. And it seems like you're really finding your songwriting and your voice, and also the people you're working with also and you surround yourself with.
Well, I think when you're a young artist starting off, you tell yourself that there's this one big step that's going to happen. You're going to be in some club or something, and some A&R guy or girl's going to come in there and take you to Nashville and make you a big star. And you come to Nashville and you figure out that it doesn't work that way. It's a lot of little tiny steps that add up to the big step. And I've got a great team. I'm really proud of them, and they work their butts off for me. Right. So I haven't done this all along. This has been a team effort. Yeah. And a solid one. My team's pretty good. Well, and it shows though. But also, I mean, I think it's surrounding yourself with the right people, which you definitely have, Trey. And also, you know, focused on the song and the music and the lyrics. You know, and that's what I like about, you know, your singles and everything, and also your entire album with Wanted Man, is let the lyrics hold up. I think you do an excellent job of painting a picture with your lyrics. And that's saying something. Thank you, sir. You know, to be able to do that. But also, as you and I know, you know, picking the right co-songwriters, the people to work with, to make you better. Well, I've always kind of subscribed to the fact that I'm not the world's best songwriter. I have, I guess, a knack for finding talented friends, and, which is good. Which is good. I'll take that as a career qualification. Definitely. So. You know, I've got some great friends, Hal O'Dell, Greg Wilson. I mean, I could sit here all day long and name people, Cody Kelly, J.P. Williams, and Terry. I mean, Terry, of course. You know, I could sit here all day. Me too. That kid's got talent. Yeah, he does. He's got great chops, man. We were talking about it backstage. He's the coolest guy ever. If you think you're the coolest guy in the room, you're not. Whenever Terry McBride walks in, it's like, yeah, I'm not that cool. You know, but once again, such a humble guy. He really is. And a great artist, and he paid his dues as well. And speaking of which, I always enjoy seeing you with your Martin guitars. I know that your main one out on the road has been your D16, but also your D28 is going to see a little love. I got to get up some TLC. Well, I mean, it's hard because you play them and they get banged up. Right. You know, people don't realize, man, they're tools. They get banged up. Yeah. Especially when you're playing in them honky tonks, man. Yeah, and also when you're going somebody spills beer on them or something. Yeah, oh my gosh, so many stories. Yes, but it's like, but also, you know, when you're going to songwriting, you know, you've got to have your tools with you. Yes, sir. As part of it, so you may have to have one more Martin
or a signature model?
That sounds like a plan to me.
I'm just saying, you know, if you're
custom inlay.
going to be on the Opry, I know there's a guitar strap already in the works.
Yes, Buck and Buckarette leather.
Yep, I can't wait to see this.
She's working on one for me. She does them for Laney and Morgan Wallen, and I mean,
and now for Trey Calloway.
Yeah, so I'm waiting patiently, but it's like a kid at Christmas. that's how patiently I might. She might see this. I love you, Dana. So we're waiting patiently, and she's worth the wait.
Right,
She's
but just like
talented.
a great song, worth the wait. And I know you're working on a lot of great material for the coming year.
Yes, sir.
And a new single like every 6 to 8 weeks.
That's what we're thinking. You know, that's always been kind of the game plan, and it's working for us good. You know, we don't wear people out, but you kind of have to wear people out. Sometimes you got to say, hey, listen to this.
Well, especially with new music and with what you're accomplishing, Trey, and I know there's probably going to be some new tours coming out this next year also. You know, once again, I'm no psychic, but it seems like you may be paired up with some other A-list touring people this coming year. And so there could be some big announcements. There could be some big announcements coming. You know what I'm saying?
This guy is a prophet, hopefully.
It just seems
we're going to be buddies, I can tell you.
Yeah, I think some good things are going to be happening this year.
Sure. Thank you.
Well,
sir.
I want to make sure, you know, certainly Wanted Man, which should have come out on vinyl, but I'm hoping the next album will, which is not titled yet. Where do our viewers need to go for your website, for social media, for all the great stuff you got going on, Trey?
So the website is www.TreyCallawayMusic.com, and I'm pretty much Trey Calloway Music on everything. Instagram is probably the format that I'm most active on, the platform I'm most active on, but I'm on TikTok and Facebook. Spotify is a big one. If you'd like to follow me on Spotify and hear all the stuff I got out, that would mean the world to me.
And I tell you what, I highly recommend that, especially with Wanted Man. And don't only listen to the singles, which individually, great songs, the whole album. Just add the entire album, Trey Calloway, Wanted Man, to your Spotify list. And also be checking out the new singles he's going to have coming out every month in this next year. And I got the feeling we're going to see some big news from you, you know, with tour, with Opry, you know, guitars. Seems like a good time for you, Trey.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate you.
I'll tell you what, yeah, congratulations. Love the music, love what you're doing.
You know that?
Check him out, Trey Calloway.
Bye, y'all.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.